Hello, everybody. Here's the final formula that we are going to have in Chapter 14. This one is called the Law of Cosines. Now, the Law of Cosines can be written looking for any side of a triangle. And what they did is they gave you a triangle, and they first time said you're looking for little c. Little c would be to start, and the end would be the cosine of the side opposite. If you wanted side B, little b would start and the cosine of B. So if you notice, this is the same formula, they just rearranged given the side they wanted. So exercise 1 says, if the measure of angle C is 90 degrees, so I drew myself a little right triangle here, then the first form of the law of cosines results in what famous theorem? Well, if I follow this first one, opposite of angle C is C, so C squared is going to start, and angle C is going to end, but it's a 90-degree angle, and that's going to be equal to the length of side A squared plus the length of side B squared minus 2 times side A times side B. And then we're timesing by the cosine of 90. Now, one of the things you want to make note of is the cosine of 90 should be familiar to you. The cosine of 90 is part of, and I'm not going to draw the whole thing, the unit circle. Here's the point. And this point here is 0, 1. Now, if you remember, and I hope that you do, the x-coordinate on the unit circle is equal to the cosine of the angle. So cosine of 90 degrees is 0. If cosine of 90 degrees is 0, anything times 0 is going to make this entire thing go away. Anything times 0 is 0, and now you're at the Pythagorean theorem. See, the Pythagorean theorem, because of the unit circle, you can find the length of any side of a right triangle. But the law of cosines, you can find the length of the side of any triangle. So let's take a look at this problem using the law of cosines. It says, in triangle ABC below, side AB is 8. Now, side AB, 8, it's opposite C. So this 8 is actually equal to lowercase c. The side is a lowercase and the angle is an uppercase. BC is 13. Now, BC is opposite angle A, so 13 is actually equal to little a. And they want us to find AC, which happens to be side B, because it is opposite angle B, and they gave us angle B is 110 degrees. So we're looking for side B. So if we're looking for side B, B squared is going to start, and cosine of angle B, which is 110, is going to end. So B squared is equal to the other 2 sides squared minus 2 times those 2 sides. So I plugged into the formula above. Now, when you use your calculator, the nice thing about our calculators is it can handle this entire thing typed in. We have to make sure that we are on degree mode, and I'm not, so it's a good thing I checked, or I would have gotten some crazy answer that would not have made sense. All right, so now if I do this, I have 8 squared plus the 13 squared, the other 2 sides they gave me, minus 2 times 8 times 13 times the cosine of this 110 degrees. And as long as I'm careful, I get 304. Now that's equal to B squared. So if I want B, I have to take the square root of this big number. So I'll let the calculator do all the typing for me. And I find to the nearest tenth, this would be 17.4. So just to have that written down, here's working this out. If I did each step without the calculator, 17.4. So that's pretty important. Hopefully you were able to follow that. Let's take a look at And if you can't follow it, guys, you really got to turn off the video, back up, and go over it again real slowly. Now, this triangle, they changed the name. They didn't give me A, B, C. They gave me D, E, F. So here's D, E, F. Now, really important is that D is 15 and it's opposite angle D. So if I were to plug into this formula now, I have the 15 squared, the opposite, is equal to the other two sides squared minus 2 times the other two sides cosine of D. Here's where the order of operations is really, really important. Take your time. 11 squared is 121. 20 squared is 400. Now, guys, this is multiplication. More important than addition or subtraction. I have to multiply these guys to get 440. And then when I think about, again, the order of operations, adding these two together, I can do. These are two individual numbers. But this 440 is being multiplied by the cosine of D. I can't touch it yet. So just a little bit of general math. This makes 521. Now I'm going to solve this equation. This is still multiplication. He is like the important guy. You cannot override multiplication. So we are solving this. We're going to subtract 521 from both sides, and that is going to make this 521 over here cancel out, which is fine. And now I can move this 440. See, I had to, just like I would do if it was a simple thing, like 2 times some unknown. It's negative 440 times the unknown, but I still have to follow the basic laws of algebra that I've always used. So if I'm going to get cosine D alone, I have to divide both sides by the negative 440. So now I have this fraction. And if I want D by itself, I now have to bring cosine to the other side. And if you remember, that's the arc cosine. So if I use my calculator, oops, that's not my calculator, let me get rid of that one. If I use my calculator, I have the arc cosine of negative 296 divided by negative 440 gives me an angle of 47.7 degrees. And that is my angle, 47.7 degrees. So hopefully you were able to follow that. Again, here's the formula. The side I'm looking for is opposite the angle given, or the angle I'm looking for is going to be on the other side of the equal sign as the length of the side. So you always make that connection first, and everything else can just fall into place. This is a nice formula. This whole unit is nice because it's all formulas. A triangle has 3 sides. So here I drew my triangle. They want you to draw your triangle. I drew my triangle. And they want you to find the largest angle. Well, the largest angle, guys, has to be opposite the largest side. So if 20 is the largest side, here's my angle L, my largest angle. And that's just kind of like the problem we just did. If I am looking for angle L, it's got to be opposite its side 20. And then I fill in the 8 and the 14. And again, I can square everything. I can multiply these. But when it comes to solving, I have to add up the 64 and 196. But the 224 is being multiplied by cosine. Now I'm going to subtract 260 from both sides. And that gives me, let's see, 140 equals negative 224 cosine of L. And then I can divide both sides now by 224. And that brings me up here that the cosine of L, 140 divided by negative 224. If I want angle L, the cosine, I need the arc cosine. And I could just type in that ratio. And I get 128.7 degrees. Angle L is a big angle because it's opposite the biggest side. If you wanted the smallest angle, you would have had to use 8, and that would have been opposite the smallest side. If they wanted the middle angle, that would have been opposite the middle. 14 is in between 8 and 20, and that would have been M. So I used small, medium, large. You always have to pay attention to what they want from you. Now, part B on this problem says, well, using your angle, so using this 128.7 degree angle, find the area of this triangle. Well, that goes back to lesson 1. That's our area formula, which is, let's see, what happened to my work? Here it is. Okay, so there's my area formula. And the area is 1/2 side A, side B times the sine of C. So we know that this is 128.7, so we drop that in. That means we're not using the 20. Remember, we're surrounding from lesson 1. So here's the 8 and the 14 and the included angle. And we type this in on our calculators, and we get 43.7. They said rounded to the nearest degree. Oh, no, the area rounded to the nearest area, we get 44. So the area of this triangle is 44 square units. And here we have a satellite dish, which they give us this great picture. And the satellite dish can track the speed of a plane. Now, if you think about it, this satellite, these two satellites, this is the vertex of the angle, and the angle is 132, and this is the side we're looking for. They want to know how far, and so there's the x, and then here's the two sides with the included angle, and that's a cosine. So we fill in our formula, and then again, since the x is here, we can type, this is just like the first one, we can type this entire thing into the calculator, and we get this long number, square root. We find that this distance here, the plane traveled 85.5 roughly miles. And they want to know then that happened in 15 minutes, a quarter of an hour. So in 15 minutes, they went 85.5 miles. What's the speed? Well, back from middle school and 9th grade and science, distance equals your speed times your time. Well, if I want to know the speed, I have to divide the time out. I got to get rid of the time, and then I have speed by itself. So I take this distance, and I divide it by the time, 0.25 hours, and I get 342 miles per hour. So I hope you worked through these problems with the calculator and take your time. These are all formulas. Everything is plug in. As long as you take your time and you plug in carefully, and then you follow the order of operations, you're not careless with the calculator, you should do amazing. So please do the problems on the next 2 pages, except for number 5. So please do 1 through 6, but cross off number 5. Number 5 is crazy, and there's no need at this point in the year to do a crazy looking problem. And email me, let me know if there's anything at all I can help you with. Have a good day.